This is your daily market review for Monday, February 24th, 2025. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Age, and this is your daily market review for Monday, February 24th, 2025. Another day of red. Are you surprised? No. If you've been following the Discord room, you've been following the channel, we talked about the seasonal weakness that usually comes mid-February into the end of the month. Well, it's only getting worse in my opinion. You see the jobs layoffs, tariffs, you see all the fun and games basically of negative news coming. And we've talked about this. If the Trump administration is going to accomplish what they want to accomplish, the economy's got to slow. We've talked about the TLT bonds being the safest trade with defined risk, and then talked about next how the market had more downside than upside. And one of the things that I love to reinforce too, when you're watching the market and you're thinking about market tops and bottoms, one of the signs that we always talk about for a top is the trash floats last. And I mean trash meaning like the names that just they're trading at whatever 100, 200 times future earnings. Everyone's jumping on them. Everyone's going nuts. Everybody's trying to get rich, and then boom. That's typically the exhaustion moment. And so I think we saw that because we talked about that with Palantir, HIMS, DraftKings. I mean, some of these names, I mean, you've been following the channel, you know what I mean. But again, would you want to short them or not? I personally was just talking about the best idea would be just take profits, manage your positions, right? And so now what? Well, this is the thing, right? If you didn't take any profits, you didn't do anything. I mean, now you're stuck. And this is what I hate for folks is that this is the purpose of following the channel day in, day out, best you can, is just to kind of stay on top of it. So now going forward, what are we going to do? Let's talk about it. So if you're new to the Discord room, a link description below. If you'd like to chat about trading, how to invest, what to invest in, looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, and you don't reach out, personally, we'll take it. I'm going to take it a little personal because you get two agents for the price of one. I'll find the best agent in your area to help you get deals. Again, I've only had 5-star ratings. The best, I always try to do literally the best people. And again, I'm part of some really great referral networks that you have to pay to be a part of, So again, if you need help, holler, use the 30-minute chat linked Calendly. Also too, posting trades, ideas, thoughts here on Twitter. Also obviously in the Discord room. Posted some monsters today in the Discord room, but hopefully people took advantage of them. Sometimes people do, sometimes they don't. That's the thing, right? Not everyone needs to be a trader, right? Trade. You don't have to trade. If you're investing, again, manage your positions. All right, next, if you'd like to follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on Twitter, YouTube, I appreciate it. You get the notification bell, get when these videos come out. And if you want to donate, hit the thanks button. I appreciate it, man. Again, I do this for free. One day I probably won't. I'm probably going to tap this into some private network. But again, at this point it is. And again, if you want to tip the dealer, and you'll always get a full-time pass for the long term. I know you guys who've been with me from the start who've been super generous, super appreciative. Again, love you guys. You know who you are. Means the world to me that you guys truly believe in this and actually have learned from this stuff, because I think there's a lot of people who get involved in trading and they just follow some really shitty gurus and people just not authentic. They're just like, oh, we always win, we always win, we always win. Someone's telling you they never lose, you better run. That's kind of how I look at that. So also check out tradingagent.com. Got a tons of resources, recommended reading book, the tweets, all sorts of fun stuff. So again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Let's jump into it. We know the Fed watch tool at this point, March is looking like a nothing. But if the market starts weakening, you're going to see the Fed fund futures potentially rise a tad. Again, they're only expecting one cut now this year. Again, we'll see. I mean, that's the thing, right? You got PCE coming the end of the week. You really need the economy to slow, prices to come down for them to be able to justify cutting more. At this point, I think it's kind of a moot point. So take the Feds off the table. Bitcoin, as we've talked about, I mean, I'm not personally bullish or bearish on it. I'm saying it's in the chop zone. But here's the thing, right? My decision on such will change based on how we act, right? You have the range lows, the range highs. We're in a consolidation pattern. The consolidation pattern is a very simple kind of trade. You trade the lows, you trade the highs, and then if the highs break, it can go long, go higher. If you want to buy the dip at the lows, define your risk. We simple. It's very simple, right? But it's not always easy. That's the thing about consolidation patterns. So be safe, keep it simple, stupid. Oil, as we talked about on Friday, pulled back, not refresh. Chopping around here. I mean, again, I personally think oil long-term strong, near-term demand destruction is a real thing. And when I zoom out, I don't really see any reason to think that we wouldn't hold the mid-60s. If not, man, like 60 level, oof, could get real ugly. Again, at this point, it seems like it will. Natty gas, as we talked about, we like natural gas long term. I personally just don't have a, I don't know. I just, again, I don't want to go long things. I think the best and easiest trade is either shorting or waiting. Again, I mean, a lot of people can't jump on that philosophy. They feel like they have to always be in trading, always doing something. I get it. That's just how you lose money too, though. FOMO is real. Dollar, we talked about 200-day channel lows. We got it. Chopping. Keep an eye on it. TLT, again, I know Jay Solstice hammering this one hard, showing us, again, all the calls that are being bought on the TLT. As we said, it had to hold the 20-day. When it gapped down here, we said, okay, if you don't hold 87, 86s, you're out of the trade. So I know some folks who bought post gap up. Well, we held here, and now we're trying to make higher highs. Keep an eye on it. Again, it's not a sexy trade, but it's a winning trade, right? UUP, dollar. Oh, sorry. The VIX, as we talked about intraday, I was showing folks on the 10-minute. Like, watch, we hit up the range highs. We held some levels around 17. Here, I'll show you on the 10-minute what I was looking at. Dink, held, and boom. Got the rally into the close. Market pulled back. Again, I like when the market closes at the low of the day and the VIX is only at 18. That is a gift. Again, it says to me that complacency is still pretty high. We talked about how the VIX typically bottoms first. Looks like it's bottomed. Keep an eye on it. Again, how much higher? This is where it might be tricky, right? This is why you talk about manning position. Sold some SQQQ calls. Took a dollar, not a dollar. It was almost a dollar. Took a decent amount off of it, right? Because it had to basically $1.50 range today. Sold it near the highs. Tried to sell most of the lows, and which is great about leverage ETF short dated calls and puts. If you're trading options, is selling them against the stock. Man, they think those things melt real fast. They're very melty. And so if you're melting premium, that means you're keeping more of it. So SPY, watching the fitted day. I mean, it looks like it's toast, y'all. We talked about like this multi-top chop during OPEX. Now continuing down. This is where it gets interesting, right? Because we talk about, and this is where like the Qs had been the leader. Double top, breaking, toast. That's why I think the Qs, again, I think tech is the easiest short. IWM, been a great trade if you shorted this, that pop. I mean, I know some folks were waiting for this, and shout out to them. I know Joe T. I mean, patience. Patience is some virtue that I think a lot of traders don't have. They overtrade, and man, I know some folks who just absolutely curb stomped this one. And congrats, I love hearing it. Dia holding up today due to some news. Okay, we'll see. McDonald's was up. So yeah, keep an eye on it. Gold. This is where, again, I like gold long term. We talked about this a year from now. I have no doubt will be higher. Just watch this monthly upside zone. I don't trust it as much when I see gold leading but silver lagging. Silver, however, this is I posted today. If you believe that precious metals are about to rip, then you've got a great opportunity right here, right now, with tight stops in the mid 29s. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Miners seem to be holding up pretty well today, considering the market chopped around, held the 20-day. Again, I just be careful because the miners can get absolutely slapped around, absolutely throttled if the market drops. AEM, this has been a leader. We talked about how this one started to kind of just chop around as gold was ripping. Holding 20-day is the key. AG, keep an eye on this, right? Chopping around. I don't really have much on it. Newmont, talked about this one getting a little fugly, right? That's pretty quick, pretty fast though, right? Solid 10%, 2 days at support. Keep an eye on it. We've talked about this is why you don't chase. You're going to get pullbacks. So if that's when you want to trade, you go right ahead. Pass. Again, I love this stuff long term, but I don't want to chase it. I don't want to buy it at highs. I've seen these names, especially in big up moves, they'll consolidate too. They'll get stuck just like every stock. They'll look like Bitcoin where they go nowhere for months. The seasonality takes over. So just keep an eye on it. Taiwan Semi, it looks like NVIDIA's taken all of their production in the United States, 70% next year. I'm like, dude, I don't know how that's going to work out because I'm pretty sure they're going to be canceling because, again, chips become a commodity. People get mad at me when I say this stuff. That's fine. Taiwan Semi breaking the 100-day. We said this is when it was game on. Now, obviously, you know where you need to hold. 182, blue zone, support resistance. Keep an eye on. Again, I think shorting semis has always made sense on pops, keyword pops, especially like this, like Micron, 200-day. Fuck yeah. 107 down to 95, 4 days. Nice. AMD. This one's been harder to short because it's been getting throttled, but it doesn't mean it can't just keep going lower, right? It's acting like a turd. Like it's doing this like stair step down. So whatever the next lower low is, Be safe. NVIDIA talked about this one. You know, like they have earnings coming up on Wednesday. You had the gift to short up against the reference and the trend line in the blue zone. I personally thought we might hold up a little bit, but glad I mean, again, I don't mind being wrong here on these. You can't predict everything right. Anyone who's selling you certainty is selling you a crock of shit. Nice trade. Congrats. SMCI, that might be getting delisted. This is a sticky one, right? Backside the trend line, 200-day. I mean, I think the smartest play is kind of like Jay's doing is you can buy calls and puts. This thing is just a mover. And so whenever they get the news on the delisting, it should probably move 10, 15% pretty damn quick. That's how it moves. Intel, we talked about this one, didn't trust. Here, let me start from the beginning. Talked about you could buy here. Said the buyout range was probably in the low 20s. When it popped up here, said, I doubt we're going to be able to rip up without pulling back. Now you're at the 200-day. Again, everything they're getting is charity. No one, I mean, they don't really have any competitive advantage, so we'll see what happens here. AVGO, we said this is going to be tricky, right? And Apple's like, we're going to do our own chips on Friday. Uh-oh. There was a reason why we couldn't make new highs. Somebody knew something. So now we break the gap. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't come right on back. I mean, maybe you even get the 200-day at some point. They could all come together. Does that make sense? Keep an eye on it. Great trading. SMH. Talk about if you bought the stocks this around, I don't know, 16. Feeling pretty good. Look at that. 2 days. Take the stairs up and the elevator down. Congrats, y'all. Really, really good trade. Adobe. This one's been interesting because I don't have a real thing has been throttled over time, like just chopping down. Talk about look like a head and shoulders bottom, but you better hold these 440s. And today's action didn't really give you any confirmation. So be safe out there. Applesauce. This is where it gets a little interesting, right? We talked about this is one was to me is an absolute easy trade with tight stops. Don't go crazy, right? You layer in, you tighten your stops up, you know exactly where your risk reward is. Simple. Mwah, a kiss, a beso. Very simple. Like El Presidente. Some people hate Dave Portnoy, but I think some of his mannerisms are funny. Look at that. Boom. Easy short, tight stops. I like it. Especially if the market's going to pull back. We talked about the trash floating last. Well, the trash is now pulling back. Amazon. Here we go. We talked about this one being dangerous. Like here's the gap down, pro gap. There it is. Now near term, oof. Talked about the 100-day being support and this trend line. I mean, this is you can't. This is what if you have profits, you probably got to manage your shorts. The same kind of thing. You get the steep up move. Don't be surprised by some counteraction and chop. Meta. A lot of people were trying to pick the top on this, like especially me. Just had to give up. You know, you couldn't. And then what did it do? Here you go. Pro gap. We talked about this. Oh, I didn't leave the arrow up there. We talked about this day being interesting. And then you gap down and was like, oh man, if the 20-day breaks, it's toast. Oh, here you go. 50-day. I mean, this is trading. Again, if you're watching this channel, I know some people watch it religiously. I know some people bounce in and out. This is the thing. Please check it out. Pro moves put on 1.5 speed. Can be done with it in 10 minutes or so. CRM making new lows. Congrats. Guggenheim. We talked about how to hold the 184 area. 100-day, 2-day range. I mean, if you break below it, it's going lower. 200-day seems very obvious, coming quick, right? Microsoft chopping around, right? We talked about this one has been just not participating at all. Uh-oh, right? Keep an eye on it. NDAQ, think this is one of the best shorts long-term, but choppy, toppy. We said this could be a cup and handle, or if the cup fails. Well, now if the cup fails at the 50 and the 100-day, this thing is going to get throttled. People are like, why would you short this exchange? It's like, dude, they are not going to have the same volumes they've been having. In time, when you get a rotation, money rotates, it's not going to be coming into the Nasdaq. I can bet you that with 1,000% certainty. I just don't know when the stock tops. Again, that's what the hardest part is, right? It's like, you know, you're being an institutional manager. You have the inside knowledge, but you don't know the inside knowledge of when the market or those stocks actually rip or flop. MicroStrategy, we talked about this one once it broke the range lows. 100-day, yikes. This is what happens. You get big up moves. It leads to consolidation. You cannot just sit here blindly and hold this stuff. You have to trade it, right? And so now what? I don't know why you went into 200-day, the gap. You have a gap fill, 200-day blue box special. I mean, it seems like that could be a solid area to watch. Set the alarms. Again, we'll see. Netflix and Spill, we'll see. I mean, this thing, talked about this formation, and if you go watch the videos from last week, said like this gap up after exhaustion, then you make a new high, it can get a little sneaky. Like, again, it wasn't like this kind of consolidation. Like the gap was huge after a huge up move. Again, same kind of thing. The huge gap down at the lows was capitulatory, and then you chopped the lower lows, and then it bottomed. Here you go. You gap up, capitulatory after a huge up move. You chop, 20-day break. Goodbye later. Keep an eye on that one. Roblox, we talked about this once. Gap down for earnings. You need a hold here, and so far you are. But if you break 60, 59 area, Pan W. Keep an eye on this one again. I like cybersecurity long term. Was like break out and go? No. Thank God. Let this pull back. I mean, it probably will hold the 180s, but again, I like this stuff on pullbacks long term. Tesla, let's rip this up. We said, got to be careful here, right? Like this thing just doesn't seem. Wait for the downtrend to break to really confirm it. We talked about potentially a bottom. You got the bottom. Now you have the double bottom. Now the key here is now you have to hold 325 area, right? Something like that. Keep an eye on it, okay? Be safe with these because, again, you don't have to chase these. Insight, keep an eye on this. We talked about this to be a buyout target. You're welcome at the 200-day. If you bought it at 66, you're feeling good, feeling great. How are you? Again, I think this thing's a buyout target. HIMS, we talked about you have to trade this. What is it doing after hours? Ooh, it's at, yikes. It's at 43 after hours. They had earnings after the close. Give me 2 seconds. I can see if I can pull up what they're doing. Revenue's up. Yep. We expected all that. Guides above consensus. Guides above rev consensus. Okay. Oh, offer increase. Wow. All right. They're selling more stock. Again, I know they're. Again, this is when we talk about, in trading. Like, you might have loved HIMS forever, but we said, for the love of God, take some fucking profit. You go from like teens up to 70s fast, and now you pull back, and after hours we're back at the 44. Here, you basically have the zones to watch now. Very simply, right? After hours watching this, I would be watching this area from the 20-day back to the old trend line. Now, we could get a little bit of a wick. If it holds, cool. This is the thing. This is where it's not about always fitting square peg into a circle hole. You could be a bull if you hold here, and if you're bearish, it's coming right back down somewhere, probably into the old breakout if it fails. Keep it simple, stupid, right? It's that simple. Again, if you were bull and you took profits, now you're sitting here going, man, what price do I want to buy at? So you get to go shopping when no one else will. Palantir, same thing. Like, you can go shopping when no one else is shopping. Everyone's scared shitless. We talk about taking profits. You never knew where. I mean, again, I'm not one to short these momentum names unless I'm at a reference point. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Not just blindly go, hey, just short and throw money. No. Now this looks ugly. Looks like the 50-day. Again, this is one of those things where, again, you must manage positions. Position sizing is key. Baba. Talked about this one. This looks like shit, right? Blow off top, straight line move, 76 to 140s, does a double in a month. Man, and no one takes profit. Dumb. Now, again, I don't know if it's going higher long term, but I would be watching very closely. Like, man, expect the pullback. This is a gift. This is why it's called trading. If you're investing, well, then you have to ride out all the bullshit. In trading, you manage your positions, you roll your positions in and out, and you leverage up and down based on the action. Right? The more you're up, the less you own, and then you can buy dips. It's that simple, man, but nobody does it. McDonald's pop today, holding. Looks like, up around the range highs, but this is the thing, right? If you're watching this, you could have probably taken it short. Didn't do anything but watching. DKNG, this one trapped me out of shorting. Look at this. Said this was probably a bull trap. Ugh. Nice work. Nice work, Bear. Or nice work, market. You got me. Can't get them all. Airbnb. Keep an eye on this one, right? Chopping around. Gaps up. Another one. Again, all this trash. Sorry if you think Airbnb and DKNG is not trash or Palantir, HIMS. I mean, like when I say trash, man, like very speculative, all in like retail names just get popped. And when they do, they pull back. That's just the nature of the beast. And then they have to base out. Costco, talk about again, a leader just holding up really well. And it's like, man, this feels like a head and shoulders. Watch the 20-day. Starbucks laying off. I mean, they haven't laid off people since 2008. Keep that in mind, folks. Something ain't good here. I think there's a really nice short here. Basing up here again, really easy. 113, 114, man, dollar stop. This thing dumps. The risk reward is 10, 20, 30 to 1 maybe. Love it. FedEx. Here we go. All right. All that takes the steps up, takes the elevator down. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Keep an eye on it. Caterpillar, we talked about this one breaking range lows, just starting to build lower lows. Deere, and nothing much to say here. You can't short this stuff now, in my opinion. Talk about this blowing off the top. Keep an eye on it. Nucor, we like steel, right? We like steel. Keep an eye on it, right? Keep an eye on it. Check these in the pullback, but how deep is going to be the question. X, chop in. VALE, if you bought this in the 8s and you rode it up. Okay. Again, don't be surprised if the market pulls back to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I say that all the time. Like Arrow, Oh, I hope they crush this thing down even more. I like the reference here, right? Keep an eye on this stuff. Keep an eye on it. CCJ, right? Keep an eye on this. We've talked about this one just getting... Once you had like this head and shoulders and this pro gap, and again, I apologize, I don't... This gap right here, like that's huge. That means it's game over potentially. And then once you couldn't hold levels, now you got more pain. It doesn't make sense why it wouldn't go back down and fill this gap at some point. And then after that, maybe it consolidates some more. You never know. Again, all these names, I like materials, I like metals, I like industrials, I like all that kind of stuff. I like getting down and dirty, but I'm going to like it when we're done chopping around, pulling back. Mosaic, NTR, all the same thing, right? Pulling back, hit pause if you need to see it. I'm just... AA, we like these names. I mean, you got to like aluminum long term. Just keep an eye on it. XLF, you're welcome. We talked about this one being a little sneaky bastard. You got a doji today, but again, you have a chop top in my opinion. We talked about JP Morgan, how having puts on this hurt, had some July ones. Well, 3 days takes out almost a month of action. Cool. Now I'm feeling a lot better. Again, once we get below 250, I'll be dancing a little harder. But right at this point, it looks good to me. Morgan Stanley, right, pulling back. Looking good. Bank of America. We said these guys hold all the risk with no reward, right? Be careful. Chopping to lows, no lower lows, right? Goldman Sachs have been holding up really well. Here you go. Starting to pull back. Carry. We talked about this one chopping around like some old references. Kelly Kapowski, keeping on it. XBI, right? Like this is a risk on name. This has been nothing. Absolutely nothing. Keeping on it. Jets. Talked about this one finally breaking, right? But you got to break the 100-day. Keep an eye on it. XHB, we talked about the housing market, just doesn't look good. I mean, I'm in housing. I follow it. Doesn't look good. There you go. New lows off the highs. Ay caramba. Solar, this is trash. I don't even know why I'm really talking about it. Gets your dead. I mean, it's just in a big, choppy, just death ranges. Sedge. Oh, yawn. Hey, this one got a nice bounce after getting, I mean, remember, this is at 330. Now you had the 200-day pulling back. ENPH. We talked about this one. We could probably get up into the 70s. You got a little bit. For solar, don't really care to buy it until it blows out. HYG, again, I think you got to be out of your mind to buy corporate debt up here, but we'll see what happens. Oil, this one's been all over the place, right? Talking about this, be careful, right? Chopping around. UNG, I hate this product, but if you bought some at the lows, you're feeling good. Again, KLD was the short. Again, I think at this point, if you own natural gas stuff, you probably need to take some profits. If you shorted up here, amazing fucking trade. Take a break, calm down, let it play out. It's oversold. Sorry, natural gas feels a little overbought. XOP, we talked about how this one's a toughie. I mean, you're in between the trading ranges. I don't want to touch it, right? We talked about how CVE looks good. I like junior stuff at some point, XOP, something, but man, I can't chase them, right? You can layer into them at the lows, but just be patient. Valero, gasoline names should be leading. They're not really leading. They're stuck in these like consolidation patterns after nice up moves. Keep an eye on it. Exxon, we like Exxon long term, but again, I'm not going to chase it here. Occidental, we know Buffett ain't going to lose. Buffett is the king. Feels like the bottom's in, right? You got some decent volume here, but it just, again, you get pulled down with the market. EQT, and last but not least, Flex LNG. Like, we like these names long term, right? Just they're in big consolidation patterns. EQT broke out, but it's probably going to struggle to break out with a market that's declining. And last but not least, Flex LNG, I think we'll be natural gas exporters. If you owned the stock last week, you got your 11% dividend. Again, if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. Always here to help. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Do well. Do the best you can. And if you struggle, sometimes part of the game. No one's selling you certainty here. Have a great night. Peace.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, your PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.